Hello, guys. Welcome to the review for Manchester United beating Burnley in the Carabao Cup 2-0. We advance into the quarterfinals of the Carabao Cup. Goals from Christian Eriksen and Marcus Rashford secure the win for us. Shreyas joining us on the show today. What did you make of that performance, mate? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Needed that positive start again, didn't we? Adam, happy United are back.
Delighted they're back. I think we can kind of hold our heads higher than most clubs because our players probably were the best performing players at the tournament for me.
Yeah.
So hopefully they can bring that form into it, and it seems like they have. Bruno Fernandes, I thought in particular, was really good, and I'm just delighted that we started with a win, carried the momentum over.
Yeah, absolutely. And coming into this one as well, we said in the preview, lads, it'd be a very mixed team. Various players out for various reasons, illnesses, personal programs, resting, etc., etc. And we thought it was going to be a game that lacked a little bit of rhythm at the start. Obviously, Burnley came back a couple of weeks prior to us, so they've got much more of a flow and energy about it. Maybe took 45 minutes for United to kind of proper kick in and get into the game. And Burnley was showing their quality at times, obviously. Shreyas, did you think that was the case? What I just mentioned there took a bit of time, really start stringing a few passes together. Did any kind of red flags at the start of the game? Mhm, mhm, yeah, yeah. I think that's a very fair point to mention. A lot of us were expecting fucking 9-0 win with free flowing football, everybody like absolutely on fire, absolutely. I want to stick a little bit with pre-match. When the team lineups initially came out, there was a bit of confusion as to if it was McTominay or Casemiro starting at centre back. What was your thoughts when you saw that? Was there any concerns there at all?
Well, instant thought was McTominay. I didn't know how to kind of feel about that one. We seen him play striker at before the World Cup. Then we were all thinking, is he playing centre back now? And then most people are like, can he actually play at all?
Yeah.
But I thought Casemiro in particular. I think you said it in the chat last night. He was like Tom Brady, spreading the balls everywhere, left, right, and
I
centre.
knew I knew you wouldn't be able to finish that sentence then.
Yeah, but for me, man, the match he was the
Yeah.
standout player, and people were arguing that he was up there in maybe the team of the tournament as well at the World Cup. Played
I
really,
certainly
really
was.
well. hmm
Definitely.
And I put him in my team anyway as well.
Yeah.
But the main concern I think I saw was McTominay. But it seems like whenever the ball came back, Casemiro he just looks so comfortable on the ball.
Yeah.
And I think we're now seeing. I'm trying to think of the saying. You know, your fruits. What's that
Fruit to your labour,
saying?
is it?
Fruits of your labor. Yeah, like
Yeah.
he's. He was on the bench at the start of the season when he kind of first came in, but now he just looks like he's the first name on the team sheet
Yeah.
these days.
Mm.
For me, he is.
Yeah, he was absolutely class, and that's why we call him Casemiro on the channel because he was unreal last night. Even out of position, he's only played there a handful of times for Real Madrid, and he just looked like he slotted right in.
Mhm.
Again, I want to stick with the back line. Trey has Dubravka in net. Like we're going to do ratings towards the end of the show. Don't get me wrong,
Mm.
but I have to speak about Dubravka because obviously your boy David De Gea not starting. I'm not sure what's going on there. It seems like Dubravka's kind of the cup goalkeeper now, but he had a bit of a mare, didn't he, at times? Yeah. Yeah. Absolute clanger that. Yeah, just shows the lights of Old Trafford can be very bright, can't they, at times, especially if you've only had a couple of games there. Yeah, let's try and go through this chronologically then. We'll start off with the first half from whatever you guys can kind of remember. Like I said, Burnley looked much sharper on the ball at the start, had a lot of possession but no impact. I thought when in the final third with Manchester United, we got it all the way up, and then it was just like it seemed to disconnect. It was times like when Bruno played Garnacho in, and Garnacho kind of fell over his own feet. And I know this was in the second half, but Anthony had the ball in a similar position, could have played Bruno in again, and then fucked up in the final third. So it was just that click, and I feel like we could have scored 4 or 5 goals if that was just like, you know what I mean, if we was on song in that kind of department. Defensively, I thought there was a few interesting battles going on. Matson, their wing back against Rashford, was interesting. Both got the best of each other, and then Benson on the other side versus Malacia. Sorry, yeah, on the opposite side with target areas. What were your thoughts on Malacia, Adam? Because I have to admit, he didn't impress me that much yesterday. I thought it was when he first signed. I don't know about you guys. I was impressed with him. I was like, this could be the guy who could start at left back. But it seems his performances fell off a little bit now. I don't know if you agree with that or not.
I kind of agree with that. I don't know whether it's to do with age, because he's still relatively young, but his performances recently haven't been up to what we've seen, especially at the start of the season. Yeah, I thought he didn't really get forward that much,
Mm,
surprisingly, and that's something that we always kind of, say he's good at.
yeah.
And he's good at crossing the ball too. Um, we're lucky in a sense that we now have Luke Shaw, who's actually in good form.
Hmm.
I say he was one of England's better players as well at the World Cup.
Yeah.
But Malacia, think I think Ten Hag has made the right decision on making him now the second choice, especially in
Definitely.
these last couple of weeks. And we last night showed why, especially against the Burnley team. I know who have been like they've been playing a bit longer than us because this is our first game back,
Hmm.
but they're still a lower league side. He should be doing a bit better than that. He should be getting forward a lot more. Defensively, I thought maybe got caught out once or twice. And you can't really blame match awareness and fitness because he did go to the World Cup at the end. He got a good few minutes as well.
Mm.
So like maybe it's just time to kind of ease him out of the spotlight for a little bit and play Luke Shaw, because I thought when Luke Shaw came on, he played a lot better.
Yeah, definitely. He's gonna have to do a lot of work to get like that starting point
Mhm.
at Manchester United, because he ain't doing it for me at the minute. But he's still young, he's still developing, so we give him time. We get our first goal, Shreyas, on the 27th minute mark. Talk to me about that goal, the ball from Bruno, Wan-Bissaka kind of tackling it across the pitch. Or he even tackles when he crosses, and then Ericsson getting the finish. What was your thoughts on the goal? Mm, yeah. Mm. Adam, do you think Wan-Bissaka's put himself a bit more on the market with that performance, or would you not overstep the mark?
But for me, I'd add 10 million onto the price tag.
Oh yeah, of course you would. Yeah, as a United
That-
fan, I think we all would, wouldn't we?
yeah. I don't know what Ten Hag is cooking. Let's be honest. He taught Wan-Bissaka how to cross the ball, and it's by slide tackling. It looked like,
Yeah,
but yeah, I think he's kind of put his name just in the shop window there. And I think Ten Hag was actually asked in the post-match press conference that, oh, does he have a future here? And I don't know why these journalists, ask these stupid questions.
no,
It's so obvious that he doesn't like favor him. He prefers Dallo over him,
yeah,
and yet they still ask him these ridiculous questions. He said that, oh, we got to wait and see. He's back, from illness at the start, injury. And I thought he answered it really, really well, not answering the question. It was
yeah.
kind of like a politician answering the question.
Mm,
And for me, yeah, I think he's definitely put the name there, just to for other clubs. He would do a job at someone else. Like he had to have been a good player to come to Manchester United
yeah,
anyway. Like we don't, I know signings haven't really been the best, but like he did show potential.
yeah.
So the potential is still there. He's still relatively young as well. So go. I don't want it to be a loan. If I'm being honest, I'd rather we just sell him. We need the funds. So I think I'd kind of leave it at that. Just that's just his name in the window there. I thought it was an all right performance by him as well. And I
Yeah.
think the cameraman was a bit shocked as well because he zoomed into him right after the goal, not Ericsson.
Yeah, I do think if we can recoup 20 to 25 million for the sale of Wan-Bissaka, I'll be happy with that because then you could put that in the
Mm,
Gakpo pot or whoever it is you're buying, if it's Frimpong, a replacement, whoever, we need that money to go towards it. Because if you're just going to loan him out to another club that's in the Premier League, it's only going to benefit them. And we seem to do that with every
yeah.
single player that we have at our disposal. So yeah, we go into the second half feeling relatively positive. You expect tweaks from both coaches, but obviously usually Ten Hag makes his subs around the 60th, 70th minute mark anyway. So I didn't expect any straight away. Burnley kept getting space in the danger areas, but still doing no damage. Like they got it in really good air. We kept giving it away, and they just did nothing. And I felt like if that was a bigger team in that game, if that was a City or a Liverpool, we would have got punished and they would have been right back in that game. I have
Mhm.
no doubts in my mind about that. It was very wasteful, weren't they? Trey as Burnley. Mm, mm, yeah. Yep. Mhm, mm. And I want to get both your thoughts on our chances in the Carabao Cup towards the end. But just on the second goal, Adam, Marcus Rashford with a great run, absolutely buries it in the bottom corner in Mbappe fashion, some might say.
Mm.
How good was that goal?
I never actually realized till I actually watched just beforehand. He pulls it from his own half. like he starts running in his own half.
Mm,
Like I don't even know who got the assist. If I'm being honest, it was probably
yeah.
the easiest assist in history, well, because he done all the work. But like from the kind of right side, and we usually say he's not that effective on the right, but in that sort of situation when he's running fast at defenders, and he went in between two of them as well.
Mm.
That's when he's at his best, running at a defender, not running into blind
Off the
alleys.
cuff,
That's what
innit?
we want to see more of. Yeah, off the cuff. That's
Mm,
what we want to see more of.
yeah.
Usually he's a bit more lackadaisy, but seems this season now he's a bit more confident in himself. That's the one thing I've kind of noticed, especially, and how he took that goal, skipping between the two players from that angle. And I don't think he could have chosen a better spot. It was pinpoint. Like I looked at it, the keeper wasn't anywhere near it. Like
Yeah.
I don't even think it was near any of his fingers.
Rocket,
He
wasn't
hit
it?
it in the right, yeah, absolute rocket.
Mm,
And usually, couple of weeks ago, I forget who it was in commentary was saying I think it was Thierry Henry actually. He's like he needs to place it more,
yeah, yeah.
because he hits it with power. But like this is the sort of style of finishing he does, and I'm
Mhm.
actually glad it actually went in today. And look, make it boost a confidence as well. He should have started more games for England. Did he finish
Definitely.
England's top goal scorer?
3. So I think he was level with Bukayo Saka, I think.
Hmm.
Mm.
Yeah. Well, I don't know why you weren't using him that more.
Well,
If I'm
Southgate
being
brought on
honest.
Sterling, didn't he? In
Yeah.
our last game, instead of Rashford, he brought on Sterling. He sat like Sterling's obviously had that incident that's going on at home. He's maybe not in the right kind of
Yeah.
mind frame. He weren't playing the best anyway, for being completely honest. And Rashford's absolutely flying. So that decision never
Yeah.
really made sense to me. But
Mhm.
yeah, Adam mentions there, Shrey, as the Rashford of last season compared to how he is now. Someone who didn't start in the game yesterday was Jadon Sancho, who was on that personal program. Can you see a same kind of path for him? Do you think Did you think Ten Hag knows what he's doing with Jadon? Yeah. Yeah. What area? Let me pick at you on that, Shreyas. What areas do you think he's lacking in? So, like when you watch him play, what do you think you need to do that more, or you need? You know what I mean? Yeah. Mm, mhm. Mhm. Yeah, I hope that personal training programs works because we're going to need him by the new year. Definitely, I could just see more injuries coming, and the amount of fixtures we've got every 3-4 days, we're definitely going to need him. One last thing to mention on the game before we kind of get into the ratings and stuff like that. Bruno Fernandes late on again. We've always had this thing with Bruno that's always kind of floated around about his petulance and sometimes he can kick off, etc.,
Mhm.
etc. He was going at it with this. I think it was Connor Roberts on their team, and just sort of like kicking out, lashing out. And another example how he needs to keep his head more because he picks up a silly yellow card, Adam,
Yeah.
and now he's out of the quarterfinals now.
Yeah, and that's the disappointment. It was the one thing that kind of stood out for me. He was arguably one of the best players on the pitch for us.
Yeah,
Particularly that pass to Wan-Bissaka. Not many players can play that pass. It kind of reminded me of a Paul Scholes pass, if I'm being
yeah, it
honest.
was. It was great.
And And we need him for the next round, if I'm being honest. It depends who we could get the likes of Liverpool or Man City in the next
Exactly.
round potentially. And you need your best players. And he was up there with some of the better performing players at the World Cup as well.
Yeah.
And it's just annoying. He needs to kind of sometimes, keep his head a bit more because it was late on. I think it was like the 89th minute too when
Yeah.
he got the yellow card too.
It's
Just hold on for
pointless.
5 minutes. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
pointless. Like you're
Yeah.
2 goals up. It doesn't matter if you concede anyway. You're still
Yeah.
going through. Like why pick up the yellow card there and then and miss the next game? I don't know if he was thinking that. Like he probably didn't because the last game he played was ages ago in the competition.
Yeah.
So he probably forgot about it. But you should be like looking into those sort of things if you're a player as well. Oh, if I pick up a book and I miss the next game, you should
Yeah.
be looking at them.
Yeah. Especially the fact that he's the captain as well, and he's setting an example. You've got
Yeah.
a youngster like Garnacho or someone like that on the pitch who's looking at him thinking, oh, he's lashing out there. Like maybe that's the right thing to do. Like you need to set an example as a captain, especially if he's going to be the captain going forward. But look, yeah, overall kind of summary, lads. United were a mess in these type of games last season. I don't know if you lot remember the Middlesbrough game that we went out in the FA Cup. Yeah, can't forget that. That's stuck in the back of my head. Even though there was a bit of a dodgy handball situation going on in there, which we all remember as well. But I don't take these games for granted. Even though we're through to the quarterfinals now. Nice for Marcus Rashford to score again and Eriksen to get on the score sheet. I think he's got 2 in 2 now, Christian Eriksen, because he scored against Fulham, didn't he? I think it was Garnacho and Eriksen in the Fulham game. It's nice for him to get another goal. We're through to the quarterfinals. It's a realistic trophy we could win. I'm pretty sure Pep Guardiola's first trophy was the Carabao Cup as well. Could be something in that. Who knows? But important to start off on a win. Important to start off positive. But what do you guys think of our chances of winning this trophy are? Shreyas, go to you first. Okay. And is that purely because Liverpool and Man City are still in the tournament as well, and other Premier League teams? You think that's the only reason? Well, another reason why we might not get to the final. Okay. Okay, interesting. What about yourself, Adam? Do you have a similar view, or maybe a little bit different? Do you think it's our best chance of winning the trophy out of the competitions that we're currently in?
I think it hands down the best. If you look at teams that are left, I think you've one top team that's going to be left after tonight. It's either going to be Man City or Liverpool. I prefer it to be Liverpool personally. We've already beat them this season. I think Ten Hag knows how to kind of counter that Klopp system. Maybe we're due revenge against Man City. Who knows? Looking at the teams that are left, are Newcastle, I think, are still in them.
Yeah, Brighton went out. Newcastle's still in. Forest are still in as well.
Yeah, and you're looking at it, it's the first chance of silverware for the season, and I think Ten Hag wants to kind of get that winner's mentality into them, and I think that comes with getting the first cup. And it's been how many years since we've won a trophy?
6 years, I think.
5, 6 years.
Yeah.
It's way too long for a club of our stature. We need to be winning trophies, and we have Barcelona in the Europa League. Can be a tough game on any night, especially with Lewandowski up front. So potentially we could go out there. Who knows? Then we have. I don't think we're winning the Premier League. Realistically,
Really?
I'm not that confident.
Really? You're so pessimistic,
drop off. Well, I think City are going to go on that mad run. I do think we can finish above Chelsea and Liverpool this season. I think we have it in us. FA Cup. We're still in that, aren't we?
Well,
It's been a while.
that starts officially, doesn't it? In either January, February. I think that
Yeah.
proper starts. Yeah.
Mhm. But that's a long kind of road there. But
Mm,
we're into the quarterfinals here. Win this, and it's only one game. You have to remember, 2 games
yeah.
away from a final as well. It's not
Yeah.
2 legs, one kind of game. So we need to really, I think, it is our best chance, and just install that winner's mentality because we want to see it. We want to see the group of players now. I want the manager to actually lift the trophy too.
Yeah.
And the last time we won this trophy, I think, was under Jose Mourinho, was it?
Yeah. But
Hmm.
it's called something different than when it. Well, it's like the League Cup or Carling Cup, I think it was
Capital
when we won
one.
it.
It was
Hmm?
like, yeah, I remember it back in the day called the Carling Cup. I think it was
Yeah.
Capital One Cup.
Yeah, that's it. I think
Something like
that's it. Yeah, you're right.
yeah.
You're right. It fucking changes every
Change
like 3-4 years, so
that's
it's hard to keep up with it. To be honest, it's basically
mhm,
if we're not sugarcoating it, it's basically the shittest trophy you can win in English football,
mhm.
really. Because the FA Cup, I'd say, is more prestigious, and obviously
Yeah.
the Premier League is more prestigious. So out of the four that you can win, unless you're classing the Charity Shield as a thing, I know we said Mourinho did the fake treble, didn't he? The Charity Shield, League One, and Europa, but yeah, apart from the Charity Shield, it's kind of the lowest ranked one,
Mhm.
I'd say.
I rank the Community Shield quite high. I do because at
Really?
the end of the day, it's the first. Yeah, it's a competitive game. And do you remember the days back against City when we were 2-0 down and we came back and won 3-2? Remember how mad the fans and the players were going and Sir Alex Ferguson?
Yeah,
Like the only reason for me why people don't see it as prestigious enough is because we've won it more than anybody else,
yeah,
realistically. And
mm,
then look what happened when did Liverpool win it there a while ago, and with Klopp. I think
yeah,
he did
yeah,
complete the hall. Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, it was the biggest competition in the world then, and all the papers were saying all these nice things about
yeah,
it. So why is it a small competition for us,
yeah.
but big for everyone else? When Arsenal won it, that was big too. So for me, it's like first competitive game of the football calendar. You want to win it. Then I put it on the lowest, if I'm being honest. I put it in fourth, and then you have the Capital One Cup, FA Cup, then the league. Those would be how I'd rate the four. But I want to win as many major honours as possible because Liverpool have won a few in recent seasons.
Yeah.
And if you look at the major honours, they've kind of gotten one or two ahead of us now.
Mm.
And that's still in touch and difference. Get one, and then we're only down to one major honour left then.
Do you know
It's
what's
going to be the most difficult thing.
a damning stat as well? By the end of this season, I think it'll be 10 years since we won a Premier League, which is a bit of a sore one, in it. And obviously 5-6 years since we won a trophy. It's just so people can't say that to us. Just win the Carabao Cup,
Yeah.
just so they can't say, "Oh, you haven't won a trophy in fucking 8 years." What you on about? Blah blah
Hmm.
blah. Like, just get a trophy under your belt, and it like you said, breeds that winning mentality, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, what do you mean you spent 80 mil on Maguire? You're like, well, fucking fuck off, mate. Like, yeah, you have no idea,
Mhm.
lads. You had absolutely no idea. Anyway, let's not talk about Liverpool. Let's do the player ratings. Obviously, we've spoken about quite a lot of the players already. We'll start, as always, with the goalkeeper, unless you're Adam, who starts with a striker. But we are starting with Dubravka. Shaking his foot, looked a bit nervous, confused, theatrical in his saves.
Mhm.
Didn't do himself the world of good, if we're being completely honest. What is Dubravka's ratings, lads?
Four.
Shrez?
And do you want to know? Mhm. Do you want to know a sickening and damning piece of information? If he starts one game in the league for us, we have the obligation to buy him.
Do I?
Yeah, I found that out last night. So
Yeah,
I'd rather
yeah.
Tom Heaton all the way, boys.
Yeah, Tom Heaton. Start Heaton, for God's sake. Jesus. He actually played quite well. I know they were friendlies in Cadiz and Batiste, but he was actually one of the better players when he went out
Mm.
there. Man of the match performance. Don't really mean much against them kind of teams, I have to be honest. But yeah, so the Ravka, we're going with a 4, a very low 4. Wan-Bissaka, great assist for the first goal. Does well to get it in at the back post, but again, we know his frailties. We don't need to cover old ground. He gets above a 6 today, of course, doesn't he? 6.57, would you say?
Yes, it's
Mm. Yep. Absolutely.
Mhm.
So are we agree with that 6.5 across the board? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well done, Wambasaka. You got your first over 6 rating. Saying that he's only played like 2 games, hasn't he, or
In
something?
years.
In fairness, yeah, exactly. Lindelof, steady Eddie again, as Graham Souness would say. He's a steady Eddie. He's a steady Eddie. 6. Does he get any more? Any less than that?
Mm.
Mm. Yeah. Um, do you agree with that, Adam? There was one point that just came in my head then when Benson had him on the right hand side and he was like a little bit jinking left, right, centre, and then boom, took him. And
Mhm.
Lindelof has that sometimes. Like if someone's got a burst of pace, he can get beaten on his weak side a little bit.
Mhm. Yeah, that's the thing with him. He's not the strongest, as we know. He's not that physical, but he's a decent pass on him. He's
I thought
positional
he was going to say he's a
sensitivity.
decent lad then. He's not that strong. He's not that quick. He's not that physical, but
Decent.
he's a decent lad.
He's a decent lad in that fella, or
Yeah.
Swede, or Iceman.
Yeah, it's fair.
Yeah. I don't think he put a foot wrong anyway. So I wouldn't really, be fussed on saying, oh, he was a low end 6. Just agree 6 for me.
Okay.
Also, I think I got a message there. I think Shreyas, your mic might be mute, or it might
Sure.
be silent. Yeah.
He's been silent all this time.
He's been-
Oh no. Oh god. That is not what you want to hear, is it? Oh no. Oh, for any you lip readers out there, you're welcome. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Are we good? At least they'll be able to hear you for the ratings, Shreyas. I can't even hear him now. All right, Adam. Let's blitz through these ratings then. Casemiro, clear to see Casemiro's doing
Oh.
Leach's job of distribution from the back. It looks really good, considering he's only played there a handful of times. Playing like a quarterback, playing many breaking line passes. My man of the match for me personally, I'd give him a 7.5. But yeah, what do you think?
I think you've hit the nail on the head there. When I was kind of, thinking of the match ratings, I think 7.5 for him. He was just the standout player on the pitch. The cream of the crop. Honestly, he
Mm.
was just so good. He never put anything wrong at all. Not maybe like I think one
One
pass,
pass,
and then
yeah. I
we
was
were
about
like,
to say that.
yeah, we were like, oh, we're reminded he actually is still
Yeah.
human. At that point, it was.
Yeah.
Mm.
But best player on the pitch yesterday, and you can just see the class. Like that's years of experience from playing at Real Madrid to playing with Brazil,
Mm.
and he's bringing that winner's mentality, and that's what we want to see, and hopefully we can build off that.
Yeah, the first time passing it honestly was unreal. Like he was doing passes at times. There was one there where Rashford was offside. I don't know if he meant it or not, but it was unreal. It was like literally from centre back, first time on the volley, and it
Yeah.
just went straight into his path like that. Can we hear you now, Shreyas?
Yeah.
Casemiro, your man of the match or not your
Yeah,
man of the match?
definitely. I think he was the man of the match, and I think except for that last pass that he made during the game, I think
Yeah.
overall it was, I think, an amazing performance. Once again, he was playing out of position as well. He was playing as a centre back,
Yeah.
and pretty much he looked, by far like one of the best players on the pitch. I think he looked really composed. Definitely, he had a good World Cup as well, so he has that confidence. Uh, so and I definitely think that going forward this season he is going to be the one who's going to be the most important player in the squad, because if we don't have Casemiro in this lineup, we have to rely on Scott McTominay, and Scott McTominay cannot do the job that Casemiro does. The drop off is so I think the drop off is so much that our team, especially the midfield, wouldn't be able to hold up against a good team. They definitely wouldn't
Yeah.
be able to. I think Casemiro is able to bring a completely new dimension of passing. He's able to win the ball back, and the reason why we are able to play the high line and actually press a lot in games is because of Casemiro, because he's able to provide a platform to Varane and Martinez as well to make those blocks and absorb pressure. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think Casemiro right now is by far the most undroppable player in our team.
Yeah, he is the creme de la creme, and he is honestly probably our best player at the minute. Even though he's 30, he's 30 years
Yeah.
old. Why is he 30 years old? Still absolutely class. If he was a chocolate, he'd be Ferrero Rocher, and McTominay would be a fucking Titan bar from Aldi. Honestly, the difference in class
Jesus.
is ridiculous.
Just one thing
Malacia,
about him.
go on.
I was just going to say about him. Does he have a weak point in his game? Like, he's really, really good defensively. We put him up front in the last couple of minutes against Chelsea. He gets an absolute clutch header. Look at the strike that he done for Brazil at the World Cup as well. He can shoot, he can pass, he can defend, he can win headers. Does he have a weak point in his game?
He can take
He's not
pens
bad
as well.
either.
Yeah. And like, oh, he's that slow because his FIFA rating is slow. But he's not that slow as well. His positional sense is so good where he doesn't actually need to sprint.
Yeah.
I haven't seen a player, really as complete, like all round in a long time play for us like that.
Yeah, he's the best in his position right now.
Yeah.
No doubt in my mind, 100%. Look, we can rave about Casemiro all day. We have to move it on. Malacia at left back, again, we've already touched on him, doesn't convince me still. Like I said, I thought he was much better near the start of the season. He needs to step it up because he ain't taking Shaw's position. He was all right. Don't get me. He weren't like the end of the world. He was terrible. But I just thought like there's nothing. I weren't watching him being like, oh shit, like wow, like do you know what I mean? He's just it's pretty steady, average performance for me. I'd give him a 6.
Yeah, I think with Malacia, I think when he made his debut, he was able to pocket Mo Salah, who's pretty much one of the best wingers in the league, and definitely the expectations were quite high from him after that Liverpool game. But he's still really young. I think he still has a lot of areas where he needs to develop a lot, and I think Ten Hag would definitely be looking into it. I think there definitely is a reason why Ten Hag went in for someone like Malacia. So I think overall in the next 6 or 7 months, we will, I think, we be able to get a much better point of view as to what kind of role Malacia in the future would be able to possess in our lineup. Whether it would be as a starter, whether it would be someone who would just be used as a backup. So I think right now he just needs to develop his game more. He needs to take his time, especially like we've seen Luke Shaw as well. He isn't the kind of player who doesn't really get injured a lot. He is really prone to injuries. So I think for him the best thing is to do is make most of the opportunities that he gets.
Yeah, not bad for a backup option though, is he?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Looking forward, we're looking for that bit of squad depth now on the right side. We have the left back position nailed down. I think right now he's a good backup. He can do a job. We've seen it, as Shrey has pointed out, against one of the highest paid wingers in the world in Mo Salah. Sorry, I had to get that in there. And yeah, just to never shut up about wages. So why not? Just a wee bit of a dig. But yeah, as a option B, I think he's one of the best around, and he's quite reliable. Obviously, he doesn't really put the same standard, particularly what Luke Shaw has done in recent weeks. I think he needs to work on his ball delivery as well. He's crossing.
Your ball delivery to Luke. That's what you need to work on.
I knew that was coming, and he. Look, he's there's potential there. He's still a young guy. I think it was an absolute steal for the price we got. What was it, like 12, 13 million?
Yeah.
Something around that.
Ajax.
It was really, really cheap.
Yeah. Give me him. That's all.
And if we went in initially with an offer, they would have been saying, oh, here, 24, 25K.
100%.
Million. Yeah. So smart business, one of the probably smarter business decisions that we actually made in terms of transfers in recent years. But look, he's there now, and just put your head down, work on your game, and I'm sure you can break into the team. You don't have to start the season. If Luke Shaw kind of has a bit of a fall back, you're there ready to take your chance then. So be just ready to take your chance, and he can play right back too. We've seen it too. He's played him at right back a good bit as well.
Risky though, risky. I didn't like him in that Fulham performance. He can play there, but I don't know. I'd still probably rather play him there than Brandon Williams, if I'm being completely honest. But Yeah, he's still very young, and we've seen Luke Shaw have dips and forms before, so he's probably just waiting to take his opportunity, and there's no reason why it can't happen. Scott McTominay, typical Scotty performance, some good things, some bad things, but, kept a good tempo when we got it, but then does some passes where you're just like, what the fuck are you doing? Hides behind players at times. He gave a simple pass away. I don't know what half, it might have been the second half. He literally just passed it to a Burnley player, and you're like, mate, there's nothing on there. I don't know why you're playing into that area. There's literally a guy to your right-hand side. Why are you just passing it straight? And that was what I was talking about before, that if that was City and you give it to De Bruyne there, and you've got Haaland, they're murdering you, mate. Absolutely, just killing you off straight away. He's lucky it was Burnley. And for that reason, I'd probably give him under a 6 because I didn't think he was great. I'd give him a 5.5.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd have to agree with that. I think it was one of the more frustrating kind of games by him. We see the very good side of him, but also the really, really bad. You can never, between him and Fred, if I'm being honest, they're always at that level. They'll be either really, really good, and then they'll do, like, I've never actually seen it before. Yeah, they can be the opposition's team's best player for them, and then he can be our best player as well. I've never seen it like. I've never seen it before with these players, and it's just these two that we have currently. One thing I did find out, he did get the assist for Rashford.
Was it? Would you call it an assist? I don't think he deserves an assist for that. If it's from your own half, I don't. Unless you've sprayed like Rooney to Van Persie, I don't think it should be counted as an assist unless you've done that kind of thing.
So I had to give him a 5.5. He gave away the ball very, very easily. I'd like to actually see how many passes he did complete, because I say it relatively low.
2. You don't have to check it, I'll tell you. Yeah. Shreyas, McTominay, agree with that?
Yeah, I think once again, it just showed, yesterday, that why we are still, in the hunt for not just one but 2 midfielders, because I really don't think that just getting in one midfielder as a box to box would be enough for us. I think we definitely need a CDM in there as well, who can take Casemiro's job when he needs to be rested or if he's injured, because I think it's about time now that we move on from McFred. And we've seen Eriksen have some really good performances playing as a box to box. If we do end up getting a central midfielder in the, I would say, next summer window, maybe it's a De Jong or someone else, but we still need another CDM in there as well, because considering now the level of games and the volume of games that we are about to be playing, injuries might be there. Definitely, injuries could be a big factor for us as well. So I think the earlier we sign another CDM, the better for us, because McTominay can't do that job for us.
No. So basically, Shreya's assessment is McTominay's pants, go get a new midfielder, you dickheads. That's the United board. Christian Eriksen, you mentioned there, a player who played obviously alongside him, actually played a bit deeper in the second half, kept picking it up off Casemiro because McTominay can't do that job. So Eriksen dropped a bit deeper, started playing there. Again, always him and Bruno picking up spaces who were causing the damage between the lines, and obviously him getting another goal, 2 in 2. 6.5, Adam, is that a fair assessment?
That'd be a fair assessment. We've seen it now in the last 2 games, as we pointed out. He's arriving into the box a lot more rather than, just holding off on the edge, and it's actually resulted in a goal. So I think Bruno's been that sort of player who's kind of holding back a bit more. Maybe it's because he's more of like a bit of an engine in him. He can do more of the running back in case the ball transitions back into us needing to kind of set up defensively. But he's a 2-footed player. He's really, really, really good on the ball. His passing ability, we know, arguably the best at the club alongside Bruno. He got the goal yesterday, and I think it's fair. Score 6.5. I wouldn't really say be up there with man the match shouts, but he's done his job well, like cutting passes between the lines, the quick passing to what I like, and we see just elements of it. It doesn't always result in a goal, so you never see it on the highlights. You need to actually watch the game to see just how class these sort of players are, and that's the issue with a lot of kind of fans these days. They don't watch the whole 90 minutes.
They just want the shiny goals and the like, all that kind of shit. Like it's I get it. Absolutely.
But he's that sort of player you need to watch 90 minutes and you'll realise just how important he is. And He didn't necessarily have the best of World Cup. His country didn't, but it was a decent return, get a goal on the
Yeah,
comeback as well, playing for club football. So hopefully he can continue the scoring run. It's nice to see him actually on the scoring sheet because he does have the most assists for us this season. That's one thing that I saw pop up.
That's interesting. Oh yeah, that came up at the start of the game, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I do like the
6,
point you make about him in midfield. He's so important, Trey, as well, because from Casemiro to Eriksen to Bruno, then feeding Martial, you can see that line of connectivity then where all players are comfortable on the ball and they can play through the lines. Whereas under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, you had fucking Maguire to McTominay to Bruno would be disjointed anyway, and then like it just didn't really work. So we're much better in the build up now, aren't we, with these kind of players?
Yeah, we definitely are. And we got Srinidhi MS in the chat saying McTominay will be best for an Indian Super League team. So
yeah, he'd also stick out like a sore thumb, wouldn't he, if we're being completely honest.
yeah. I think definitely if you have to compare it to how we played under Oli, I think definitely there is much more build up. I think there is much more control over the game, and I think our players actually get to express themselves more on the pitch. If I have to compare it to the way we used to play under Oli, because I think under Oli it was just counter attack. Our game just came down to how fast we can actually get in behind, and that's why most of our attacks definitely relied on Rashford, because he was the quickest player we had on the pitch. And the moment teams were able to figure it out, they were able to completely cut us off, because McTominay and Fred weren't able to pass the ball out quickly. Bruno was either too far ahead or he was playing too deep, that there was basically no creativity in the team, and whoever was the striker for us, yeah, exactly. Yeah, and whoever was a striker for us, whether it was Cavani, whether it was Rashford, whether it was Martial, whether it was Ronaldo, they would, there was never a moment where I could say that we have created 6 to 7 good chances for a striker. It was usually that, on the counter attack, the opposition team isn't well set up, and we were able to move in at the right time and get a goal. So in comparison to that, I think Ten Hag has been able to, definitely change a lot of those things around. Especially, with the kind of players he has at his disposal as well. I think he's doing the best that he can with this squad. So I think overall, I think our team looks much more connected now, because under Oli, just look like we have a fixed, 1 pass, 2 pass, 3 pass, and then score the goal.
So Eriksen and Bruno, can we knit them together? One got a partial assist. He obviously played the brilliant pass to Wan-Bissaka. Eriksen got the goal. Both of them had similar games. Maybe Bruno was a little bit wasteful in the final third. If his through balls were a bit more clean, you could. Who was it to? Oh no, it was Garnacho actually who fucked it up, wasn't it? Because the pass was actually okay, but Garnacho kind of fell over his own feet. But I still did see at times Bruno a little bit wasteful, which you get that kind of from a number 10 who's the risk taker. You kind of expect that with Bruno, and the discipline thing towards the end pissed me off a little bit, especially because he's a captain and now he's out of the quarterfinal, which could be against a big team. So I would give them both equal numbers. I'd say 6.5 for both. Do you lads agree with that?
Yeah.
Fair assessment.
Yeah.
Perfect. Right, we move on to the attack then. The last couple of ones before we head off. Marcus Rashford. Now, this one's interesting because I've seen on a lot of the other fan channels he was getting man of the match. Sky Sports obviously giving man of the match. In the first half, I thought he was slightly underwhelming, didn't really do much, was offside a lot. Decision making wasn't the best. Again, I thought this could be because of the interruption of the World Cup. They've obviously been playing under different tactics, etc. But second half, especially, obviously scores a very good goal and plays much better like the Rashford that we've seen. So it was a game of two halves for me with Rashford. I won't put him man of the match, but I'd give him a 7.
Yeah.
I'd give him that too. I think he just looks a lot more comfortable, especially in the second half. I think he moved later in the half to the left-hand side, and you see the nutmeg that he done the fella. I was like, that's what we want to see from him. We want to see more of that. And he has an absolute rocket of a right foot, and it's a shame he just hasn't been getting into positions to actually use it enough, particularly last season, but this season he has been. And it's just night and day, complete difference, chalk and cheese in terms of last season. He grows into the game. He does. That's what he done in this game in particular. But once he turns the afterburners on, like, is there anyone like faster? As he said, like Mbappe, it was almost like for the goal.
Similar.
7. Yeah. very, very similar. I think they're almost like, cut from the same cloth they are.
Mm.
Mbappe is just, I think has that next level. But Rashford, he does have that potential in them, because it was only a couple of seasons ago, was it 2 years ago, they were saying like, oh, Mbappe, not Mbappe, Rashford was getting the better of Mbappe when we were playing PSG
Yeah.
in the Champions League.
Yeah.
Was it,
Mhm.
we had them in the group, didn't we?
He was
Yeah.
patting him on the head, wasn't he?
Yeah.
There's a picture of
Yeah.
Rashford patting him on the head, which got made into a
Exactly.
meme.
And that's what we want to see more. He has the potential there to be one of the world's best. He just needs to take it a bit more. Just focus on your football, is what everyone keeps saying. And it seems like he has been doing that this season, because you don't really hear as much stuff outside of the footballing circle that he has going on right now. And like, look, it's not discrediting him on the things that he done off the pitch, because he's done really, really good things. But at the end of the day, you're also a footballer, and it's a result business. So you need to kind of focus on that as well. And he has been doing that. And he looks a way different and better player. Ten Hag's getting the best out of him. So 7, I think, today, not man of the match like everyone else is saying, but the sort of goal he scored, you had to give him a 7.
Yeah. And for everyone watching, just a translation of what Adam said there is, as long as Rashford's scoring hat tricks, he doesn't care if kids are starving, basically. So it's all right. Just a joke. Just a joke.
I've been starving for this sort of performance from a man.
Yeah. See how he did that. Strayaz, would you agree with Adam's assessment there? Not the starving kids, his actual performance on the pitch.
Yeah. Just before I get into that, there's a comment in the chat saying Casemiro brings a completely different level. We definitely need 2 central midfielders, and I think keeping Fred will help us in many games, but not McTominay, please.
Yeah, I think everyone's absolutely in agreement with that. Whoever's put that comment of the day. Yeah, it's Casemiro's the boss, man. He's Casemiro, Passamiro, whatever you want to call him. He's a hero. But Marcus Rashford, Shreyas.
I think definitely Rashford has worked up his game a lot. He looks like a completely different player in comparison to what to his performances last season, and that's what we actually want from Rashford, because he, considering we don't really have Jadon Sancho right now, and I don't know how long will it take for him to actually make his way back into the squad. We need Rashford to be firing on all cylinders, and he has been doing a really good job playing off the wings, and even when he's been called on to play as a striker, he has been doing the job for us. He has been getting goals quite frequently, especially in the big games as well, and hopefully he's able to keep this up, be able to perform, because now that we've got Barcelona in the Europa League as well, we're gonna have the quarterfinals of the Carabao Cup, which is another added fixture. We need him to be performing. We still don't know if we're gonna be getting another winger or any other attacker in this window as well. I hope we get him, but even if we don't get him, which could be the case considering the Glazers are selling, so they wouldn't really be looking to invest more into the club. We need Rashford to be fit, and we need Rashford to be performing well like that. And hopefully, is considering he has had a really, really good World Cup run as well, he can convert that into his form for Manchester United as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Big up Marcus Rashford. He's absolutely smashing it at the minute. Long may it continue. I don't know if you guys saw the interview after the game. They asked Eric Ten Hag about Jadon Sancho, and he was like, "Have you got any updates?" He went, "Nah." And then that was just it. Like, didn't add anything onto it. Just really stubborn, just like, nah. So that may take a couple of weeks. He might be back in the new year, hopefully revamped, fresh, and ready to go. Fingers crossed. The striker, Anthony Martial, a bit of a weird one. Felt like he was a little bit quiet. I feel like he needs to impose himself a bit more on the game, make himself like known. Because as a centre back, if you're a centre back and you're playing against him, he can be tricky because he's great when you play the ball into him. He's good, back to goal. He can play off, link up with other players and stuff. But he goes quiet in games as well. And I feel like sometimes he just needs to be a bit more aggressive, a bit more physical in certain times. A bit nonchalant in his approach, which is obviously a bit like his personality. He had one chance on the half turn with his left foot, which is a good opportunity. But apart from that, I wouldn't say he damaged the game at all as a number 9. Whereas, when you watch Erling Haaland for City, he's just like running everyone ragged. He's like a powerhouse. I know Martial's different kind of style, but I don't know. That's just my personal opinion. What did you think, Shreyas?
Yeah, I think with Martial, once again, I think consistency is one of the biggest issues with him. If he can be consistent with his performance, we've seen glimpses of what he can do on the pitch. I think when it comes to hold up play and linking up with wingers, he's actually able to help the players around him a lot as well, because we've seen the best performance from Bruno Fernandes as well whenever Anthony Martial is playing up ahead of him. So I think he does bring a completely different game to us when he plays as a number 9. But yeah, I think he needs to be more impactful when he's playing up front for us. Except that I think the one of the biggest things that he needs to work on is his fitness, because if we've seen him get injured about, like, I think 3 times now in this season already.
Like
So
polyester, innit?
yeah,
It's fucking so
so
fragile.
I think his fitness is the biggest concerns right now. If he's able to stay fit for the remainder of the season, maybe uh, he could be looked at as someone who can do the job for us. But it still looks really unlikely with, I would say, Martial. I think the jury is still out for him. And
Yeah.
we've got a couple of comments in the chat. I want to see more goals from Anthony. He needs to step up. If we get a central midfielder like Bellingham or De Jong or even Rice, our midfield would be settled. Gakpo will be a United player for sure, but we can't keep buying players as we should wait for the full sale of the club, and then we can get good investment.
Knowing the Glazers, though, they'd probably just add it onto the sale. They'd be like, yeah, we
Yeah.
spent 50 million, but we'll just add it onto the thing anyway. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
or maybe a theoretical kind of thing to approach it would be, well, how much difference would Cody Gakpo make? Would he put us into the top 4? And then if we're a Champions League club, you sell the club for more then because of the
Yeah.
revenue that they're generating. So it can work either way. I'm not sure how the Glazers are going to go about it, but knowing them as penny pinching bastards, it's probably the earlier statement. But
Yeah.
Anthony Martial, Adam, what do we think? 6.5, 6?
I think a bit of a 6 yesterday. I thought for large chunks of the game he was mainly a passenger. Didn't really see much of him. I don't know whether he was dropping too deep. And then like the late arrival of kind of like Ericsson into the box was kind of, getting into his way. It was. But we've seen it like in glimpses this season when he has played. He's been really, really effective. But last night he just wasn't effective at all. You pointed out that one chance on his left foot, which was a really, really good save, I think, from the keeper at the time, because it did take a bit of a deflection. But there was another chance when we seen him kind of turn on the left side of the box, so the keeper's right. And that's usually the position you want him in. I don't think there's really anyone better. We've seen him score so many goals, particularly against, I think, Everton. I think it might have been
against Wolves, where he
Yeah.
smashed it in the roof of the net.
Yeah, Stoke as well, I think, was one of them. He kind of opened his body, curled it into the corner, but he just put it straight at the keeper. It was like a pass back to the keeper.
Yeah.
I think that's just going to come with match fitness. He hasn't had that, particularly in the last couple of weeks, between injury, the World Cup being on, and he just needs to kind of show himself, as you said, a bit more, like pop up in these sort of better positions, because last night he done basically nothing. We were
It's
playing
quiet,
without a
wasn't it? It
striker,
was
felt
just
like.
quiet,
Yeah.
man. Like, I just,
Mhm.
yeah, I don't know. We need more from
Strikers can influence a game massively. We've seen it with the likes of Jesus, Haaland, as you pointed out as well. Firmino this season, when he has played in the middle as well for Liverpool, like they can be effective, but he wasn't really that effective. But if he continues to play the sort of way he did before last night, like he can break in. Like we said, we play better with him. He suits our system, well, the Ten Hag system, a lot more. And it's quite evident we do need a striker, because if he is playing like this and maybe he goes through this sort of slump now, we don't have anyone else right now. So we do need a striker, and everyone's talking about Gakpo. Hopefully that can happen. We've seen a bit of it at the World Cup. He played sort of that, I think was it one or two strikers.
Yeah, so he'd rotate. He'd be like a 10 at times, because the Dutch system's very fluid. So they had like Depay would then sit back, and then Gakpo would go up top, and it's kind of like it's similar to Ajax, how a lot of people can play in different positions. But yeah, Martial was quiet, and it's going to be. That's why what makes January so interesting, I think, because who they go in for, if they actually spend any money at all. I'm sure we'll do a show on it when the new year kind of comes anyway. So yeah, Martial will give a steady 6. Then the last one, Alejandro, don't call my name, Garnacho. What do we think of his performance?
We done Anthony.
No, well, he was a sub, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, he was a sub actually.
Yeah. So we're going We're going with, if that kicks off and takes his own life, by the way, that it's obviously a Lady Gaga tune in it, that Ali Alejandro, that could be a new chant for Garnacho, just saying. Yeah, the last one, guys. I'll let anyone take the floor on that. Garnacho.
You want to go first, do you, Shrez?
Yeah, I think in the first half, I think he definitely should have been able to get a goal. After the pass by Bruno Fernandes when he played him in, I think he could have easily gotten a goal there. Um, I think definitely whenever he's playing, he seems to be that sort of player that he like a bright spark on the pitch. Just glides past defenders a lot, likes to take on defenders, isn't really scared to make those sort of challenges and run at defenders. So and I think overall in the before the World Cup, like the 2 to 3 weeks before the World Cup happened, he had been that bright spark for us, whether it was in the Europa League, whether it was in the Premier League as well. He used to come on, he used to do his job, he got some really important goals, actually pulled off some really good crosses as well. So I think yesterday once again, I think for our entire attack, mm, except Rashford turning on in the second half, I think it was quite a game for everyone to actually just integrate, just get back into the groove. And yeah, I think with Garnacho, what I see is a bright, really, really bright future. I think he'll be given a lot of chances now, considering the games we have. And he'll be definitely starting a lot of those games as well. So hopefully we see more from him. Hopefully, he's able to develop more by the end of the season and cement his squad in the starting 11.
Yeah. Do you agree with that statement, Adam? With Ali Alejandro, Ali.
Well, sticking on the music team, as Shrez talked about sparks, you can't start a fire. You can't start a fire without a
Hey.
spark. And seems like he's been that sort of spark in recent weeks when we have been playing. I can't really think. Rashford maybe picked it up last night in the second half,
Yeah.
running with the ball at a defender.
Mm.
And we haven't seen that enough, particularly from Jadon Sancho. But this young lad's come in and he's just taken the bull by the horns and he's actually done that. He had a really, really good chance in the first half, and I don't know why. I think he hit it with his left foot when he could have easily
Yeah.
opened up and hit it with his right. Yeah, I think we had this discussion a couple of weeks ago as well. What foot is he? Because his
I've
goals,
always thought-
we were actually saying it. Yeah,
I always thought he was right-footed, Garnacho. I don't know whether he is or not. I have no idea, but I've always thought he was right-footed, but he's equally as good on his left, isn't he?
yeah. And that's what we want to see. We got rid of a player there who was both-footed, and it's good to see someone come back who can be that sort of player that is both-footed. I think with him now, you just got to kind of watch. I think there was rumors going about earlier in the summer about the whole kind of attitude. Maybe there was an attitude issue.
Yeah.
But it seems like Ten Hag is kind of nipped that in the bud recently. I had to be careful with that one.
You got it.
Better right this time. But look, the world's his oyster at this point. Like his ceiling is so high, and that's why you have clubs like Real Madrid that are sniffing around now. So we need to tie him down to a contract ASAP because the lad, I can't remember a player coming through the academy who's looked this good in quite some time now.
Burst on the scene.
Yeah.
He's burst on the scene,
burst
hasn't
onto the scene.
Yeah.
A bit like Mickey Richards.
Mickey Richards. He's better. That chance, though, I think that was just down to rhythm, if I'm being honest. Rhythm. I think if we played that game straight after the Fulham one, I think he takes that chance and he buries it. It's just the 5 weeks in between the games. He'll be all right. And young players as well. I think that's one thing. Don't put too much expectation on young players. Let them develop, man. They're going to have dips in form. I remember Elanga under Ragnick when he came out. Everyone was like, play him. Look at him now. Like, people want to send him out on loan to the Championship. I'm not saying the same thing's going to happen to Garnacho because I think he's got more talent in the locker than him. But I'm just saying, just allow him to grow. Let these young players, he's 18, 19 or something. What was you doing when you was 18, 19? Probably around the back of a bush drinking a bottle of MD 2020 or something. You know what I mean? So just allow the lad to grow. It'll be there. It'll be there.
The only advantage he has is that he's not English, because if you're English and you're showing that potential, the press will absolutely slaughter you if you play bad. And that's what's sort of happened with Rashford and Elanga as well. The press will absolutely scrutinise you, the British press. And I don't know why they do this to these young talents. We've seen it throughout the years. to
Imagine
their
if
own
you went out
players.
with the Argentinian squad, Adam. If you went out there, like,
Yeah.
because there was links with it, wasn't there? Who was it who got injured for Argentina? You remember?
I think it was
Someone
Joaquin
got injured.
Correa.
Yeah. You're right. And then there was talks about him going, like, that would have been won it. That would have been absolutely massive for him just to be part of that, like, kind of thing, experience and stuff. Obviously, unfortunately, he didn't go, but look, we've got him. He'll still get quite a lot of game time for us. And let's look forward to the Premier League games that are coming up. Just the last thing I want to touch on. Any plans for Christmas, lads? Anything you were doing at least until the new year? Or, just talk to me.
You want to go ahead, Shreyas? First.
Or New Year?
No, I think for Christmas, definitely I think I'll mostly just be sitting home, might go out later that night. But yeah, except that I think because it's been quite a turbulent month for me up until now, I think I'll just have a much more relaxed week and try and wake up past 12 at the New Year's, which will definitely be a challenge for me. So for me, that's the biggest thing that I'll be looking forward to this week.
Interesting. A few ginger beers, and I don't know what game it is. Valerian, is it? You're playing something now at the minute? A few ginger beers and some gaming, I reckon. Adam, you're going to be the total opposite. You're going to be pissed to the gills for 5 days in a row, aren't you?
Pretty much, yeah. I have a big thing due on the 31st, but I have a good few days off before that where I'm going to focus on that. But now coming up to Christmas, I just want to have a drink. I want to relax, have a bit of fun. It's been, like Shreyas, it's been a turbulent month. But I'm glad to be back on this. It's been quite a while. I think only 2 appearances in 2 weeks. And
You got a second appearance there.
Yeah, and look at this.
There we go. A festive surprise. We've got a festive surprise on the thing. Merry Christmas. Oh, he's in a United kit as well.
Yeah.
I absolutely. Now he's crying now. He's in Adam's arms.
Yeah. How are we doing?
Love that. We've got the youngest United fan on the channel. I love that.
Yeah. So far, but this is the little fella. Anyway, bit of a different Christmas with this one.
I want to say what's his name?
10 years to come.
Noah.
Noah. I like it. 2x2, 2x2, and the 2x2 go out the door. Love that. A bit of festive cheer for everyone there. Young little wee United fan.
He won't be on the sauce though. He won't.
No sauce. Maybe a bit of whiskey on the dummy. Who knows? We'll see. I think that's everything, guys. For everyone watching now, or if you're watching later on, please subscribe to the channel. I hope everyone has a lovely Christmas if we don't see you beforehand. Eat your food in body weight, drink as much as you can, and be rough and skint for January. That's how we work it over here. That is how we do it. I thought we could do one thing just before we go. Can we all do a Thanos snap just as Shreyas clicks off off the stream? So you let us know, Shreyas, and we can all do a Thanos snap, and we'll end the stream like that. Yeah?
Yeah. Okay.
So you let us know.
Okay. 3, 2, 1.5, 1, 0.